Hi guys, it's Kaylee. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing the underrated, overrated tag. I saw Katie Marie do this video, and I know she said she saw somebody else do this video. So I'll at least have her video linked down below, and if I can find the other person that she did with this video, I'll link them down below as well. But basically what this is I have a list of a bunch of, like, I guess, topics and categories of makeup, and I'm going to list off on what I think is overrated by that topic and what I think is underrated from that topic. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below if you're not subscribed already, and we'll get into it. So before I get into it, I just want to say, like, a little disclaimer. If I say something I think is overrated, it doesn't necessarily, for a lot of these things, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like whatever it is that I'm saying it's overrated. I'm just saying that it gets a lot more hype than I feel like it might deserve, or that I feel like other things deserve more hype over it that aren't getting it. So that is kind of how I am, like, rating things. So just because if I say something that is overrated, it definitely does not mean that I don't like it or anything. A lot of the stuff that I have in here that I listed as overrated, I do actually like, but I just think for what it was hyped up to be, I was let down. So that's my only thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. I hope this doesn't cause too much controversy. Let me know your opinions down below on what you think. So for overrated, I said Morphe. And once again, going along with what I just said, Morphe is a brand I absolutely love. I love Morphe. But I feel like with the bigger YouTubers, definitely all you hear nowadays is Morphe, Morphe, Morphe. So I just, like I said, I think I'm getting a little bit sick of hearing about them. And I mean, we all know, like, their eyeshadow formula is good. Most of their products are good. So I'm kind of somewhat over, like, hearing so much about Morphe. If there's something I want from Morphe, I'll go and look at myself, or I'll just look when I'm at Ulta. So I don't feel the need to hear so much about the brand Morphe anymore. And then for underrated, I said nude sticks. And nude sticks, I really don't hear too much talk about. If so, I'll hear a person here and now and then talk about maybe, like, one thing. But really, as a brand, I really love their brand, and, like, all the stuff they come out with, they're very simplistic, and I just really love who they are as a brand, and I would love to see more people talk about them. I don't feel like they get as much hype as they deserve. Okay, so the next topic is brand collabs. So this is going to be like the collabs that certain brands do with certain YouTubers or influencers. So both these kind of go with the brands I said, but for overrated, I said Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. And I feel like I'm going to be a broken record saying this a lot throughout this video because I really don't want anybody to get offended. But the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collaborations I've loved. I love their original palette they did, the one she created. And I did get the Vault collection. I love that as well, even despite all the controversy that surrounded it. And I didn't get anything from their brush collection, but I was interested in, like, one or two brushes. So it's not that their collabs aren't good or anything. It's just I'm starting to get a little sick of hearing about Morphe Jaclyn Hill collab, Morphe Jaclyn Hill collab. They've collabed like 5 or 6 times at this point, and I would really love to see Jaclyn herself as a person, as someone that I look up to. And someone that she was one of the first ones I started watching. There was, like, a few others I started watching before her, but she was one of the first big ones I started watching. So just someone that I used to look up to her, and I mean, I still do. I still love her as a person. I would love to see her either collab with some other brands or come out with her own makeup line, the makeup line she's been talking about for years to finally come out with. So that's why I'm just saying I'm kind of sick of hearing about Morphe Jaclyn Hill collab, because I feel like I always hear about that. And I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. And then for underrated, I said, once again, it's nude sticks, but I said the Melissa Alatorre and nude sticks collab. She just collabed on a, like, little set with them, and it's like $60, comes with all full-size products. It comes with, like, 5 or 6 full-size products for your eyes, lips, and cheek, and I think that's amazing. I haven't gotten it yet. I want to get it. I just haven't gotten it yet. But I'm, like, super excited for that collab, and literally, other than hearing from Melissa herself talk about it, I've heard nobody else talk about it. And it's like, why aren't, like, things like this getting talked about? The next topic is makeup releases, but I actually couldn't come up with anything for that, so I'm actually going to skip that. And then next I have eyeshadow palettes. And then from here on out, like, I'm sorry if this isn't really in any specific order. I'm just kind of going off of what I heard when Katie talked about it. So I'm just kind of going in a random order, I guess. But eyeshadow palettes for overrated, I said Naked 2. I remember when that first came out, that was right when I was when I was first starting watching YouTube. And I remember that palette had just come out, everybody was talking about it, and everybody had it. And it was like, if you had that, you were cool. Like, that's how I felt. So I finally got that palette, and I don't know, I was just kind of disappointed in it. It was fairly, even for a neutral eyeshadow palette, I felt that was fairly boring. Because when I did get it, I wasn't in neutral eye looks, but I just found that I couldn't get a lot of different looks out of it. It didn't have a whole lot of mattes in it. And I don't know, I didn't find like too much, I couldn't do too much with it. So that palette like definitely like let me down. And I felt like it was way overhyped. I mean, people obviously like, they don't talk about it as much anymore. It's not now overhyped, but definitely when it came out, I definitely think it was way overhyped. And then underrated, I said the Carrie, it's their 21 matte eyeshadow palette. It doesn't really have any other name. Like I said, I'll insert a picture right here. But that one, I hear like, I've heard Jay Kissa talk about it, and she's the reason why I got it. But other than her, I've heard nobody talk about it. And I think this is like a great eyeshadow palette, especially if you're starting to get into color. So I absolutely love this palette, and I would love to hear more people talk about it. Because I feel like you can do so much with this palette. For eyeshadow formula, for overrated, I said the Anastasia formula. And I do like this formula, I really do. The only reason why I'm saying it's overrated and why I think like it shouldn't be getting as much hype as it does is because I find that the Anastasia formula, I don't think it's beginner friendly. I have learned how to work with it, and I know a lot of other influencers, they can work with it perfectly fine, but I feel like if you're looking at it from a consumer standpoint of view and from beginners watching these YouTube videos, and they're seeing everyone talk about the Anastasia formula and pretty much any eyeshadow palette from them. And don't get me wrong, I love their eyeshadow palettes, and I have the Modern Renaissance, the Soft Glam, and the Norvina palette. I have all of those. And I do really love them, but because they're so pigmented and you can get fallout from them so easily if you don't know how to work with them right, they're not beginner friendly. And I feel like that should be made a lot more clear than what it is. I just find that it's so hyped as so pigmented, you know, best eyeshadow formula ever. And it's like, I could definitely see like, you know, some other beginners going out, it's like, okay, and like getting it. And then it's like, they're having trouble working with it. It's like, it's way too pigmented for them. So for that's why I said Anastasia is overrated for their formula. And underrated, I said the Lorac formula. That formula, it's like the same. It's pigmented and it blends really beautifully, but I find it's easier to work with, and not many people talk about it. And Lorac has a lot of great palettes for beginners, and even for people who aren't beginners, even for people who are more skilled. And I find that it's just very versatile and has a very broad spectrum for people to please different people. And they're not talked about enough. So that's one I said was underrated. For eyeliner, I said the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper. I've actually not personally tried out this liner, but for me, almost any high-end eyeliner is overrated. I don't find that high-end eyeliners deserve the hype that the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner got. Because the drugstore has, I mean, maybe a couple years ago they did, but the drugstore has so many like good eyeliners now. And so it's like, I don't find a need to go out and spend that much money on a high-end eyeliner, especially when eyeliners dry out so fast. Eyeliners and mascaras, I find there's no need to purchase a high-end version. So that's why I said the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner. Even though I've never personally tried it, I don't find the need to, because I find stuff that does just as good of a job at the drugstore. And then for underrated, I said the Essence, this is called the Gel Eyeliner in Cocoa Bean. Now, this is a brown, like, gel pencil liner, and I literally have heard nobody ever talk about this liner. This liner is, like, literally my favorite liner ever for on my lower waterline, and I hear nobody talking about it. And I absolutely love this. Like, when I was at the drugstore one day looking for a brown eyeliner, I saw it and picked it up, and it turned out to be, like, the best thing ever, and it's only, like, $2. And nobody talks about it, and I'm just like, why? So that one, I feel like, can definitely be hyped up more. Sorry if I keep looking down. I have, like, my notepad right here. Next is mascaras. And for overrated, I said the Benefit Roller Lash. I remember like that was everybody's favorite mascara for the longest time, and I only ever got a mini of it, and I didn't find it, like, I was like, it didn't do much for my lashes. I know it was advertised to help curl your lashes, which I was intrigued by, but I just found it just kind of like, it didn't apply that much mascara and it didn't do much for my lashes. Maybe it curled them a little bit, but it's like, if it doesn't give me anything else, if it doesn't give me volume or that much length, it's like, okay, it'll curl them, but it's like, it's not going to make, that curl is not going to make much of a difference on my eyes when there's no volume or length. You know, you have to have all three. For me, a good mascara gives you all three. It gives you volume, it gives you length, and it holds a curl. That's a good mascara. And they only advertise that mascara to help with curl. And I know a lot of people loved it, but it's like, that's not good enough for me to spend that amount of money on that high end of a mascara, you know? So that's why I said that one. And also something I noticed about that is that a lot of people that were raving about that mascara wear falsies all the time. So it's like, I hate people that wear falsies all the time, review mascara, and then pop false lashes over them. It's like, no, the way I judge a mascara is by how good it makes my lashes look without false lashes. If I put false lashes on, then all I need is for something to make my lashes black. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. So that's just one thing I kind of like didn't understand about that mascara. And then for underrated, I said the Stila Huge Lash Mascara. That mascara is amazing. I absolutely love it. It gives amazing volume to my lashes. It literally makes my lashes look like I'm wearing false lashes. And I absolutely love that mascara, and nobody talks about it. Foundation. This is going to be kind of an unpopular opinion, but I said the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. And I don't know what it is, but everyone talked about it. I went out and bought it, and I could not get that foundation to work for me. I don't know what it was, but that foundation did not work for me. It clung to my dry spots. It didn't provide that much coverage, and I didn't get the hype behind it. So that's what I said as overrated and underrated. I said the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Nobody talks about this foundation. This foundation is so good. I have dry skin, and this is like one of the only foundations I can find that it gives me the full coverage I want, but doesn't make my skin look dry. But it's not marketed as a dewy foundation, and it doesn't give me overly dewy. It's just like gives me good coverage, smooths out my skin, doesn't leave dry patches on my skin. It's just like the all around great foundation, and there's nothing spectacular about it, except for just how simple and good it makes my skin look. So that's what I said for underrated foundation. Yeah, okay. For a primer, I said as overrated the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. And now this is a primer that I bought into the hype. I went out and bought it and have it, and I do use it, and it is a good primer. But for what it was hyped up to be and for how expensive it is, it's a $58 foundation, and everyone was hyping it up to be like the world's greatest primer ever. And when I got it, I'm like, okay, it's good. It kind of smooths my skin a little bit, but it doesn't do anything. It's not a miracle worker. It doesn't, change my skin completely. I know it claims to have some skincare benefits in it, but I don't wear makeup enough on a daily basis to fully judge that and see the difference that those skincare benefits may have on my skin. So that's why I was just like, I found it was way overhyped than what it would have been. And then underrated, I actually kind of have two. They're like in the same line and by the same brand. They're by Physicians Formula. One is the Bright Booster Facial Oil, and the other one is their Brightening Facial Oil Stick. So they're both brightening facial oils pretty much. One is just in a normal oil dropper form, and the other one is in a stick form. I absolutely love both of these. I think they do equally good jobs. I do kind of switch back and forth between them, just depending on whatever I'm feeling. The facial oil stick I absolutely love because it doesn't leave like an oily, neither of them really leave like an oily residue on my face. They do both sink in. The facial oil stick, I love the smell of that. And it's so easy because I can just kind of swipe it on and I just kind of massage it into my face a little bit and I'm done. The facial oil, I think maybe if anything, it gives me a little bit more hydration just because it is in a true oil form. So I feel like I can apply it a little bit more. But they're both equally as good, and I think you can't go wrong with either one of them. And like, so once again, I've heard nobody talk about this. So definitely that needs more hype. For blush, I said as overrated, the NARS Orgasm. And this is just a blush. I know when it came out, it was definitely one of a kind. And I'm not saying it didn't deserve the hype back then. But just nowadays, there's so many blushes like it on the market. And blush is another one of those things that is hard to get me to spend money on a high-end blush. Because I find the drugstore has so many options. Flower Beauty has a blush that I find looks really close to NARS's Orgasm. And it's a fraction of the price. I think it might be the shade Warm Hibiscus. I'll check, and like if I'm wrong, I'll write it in on the screen. But I'm pretty sure it's Warm Hibiscus by Flower Beauty. And that looks amazing. And it looks just like NARS's Orgasm. It's just that basic, you know, pinky peach blush with a golden shimmer reflect. So it's nothing really too spectacular. So I definitely think that one is one that's overhyped. And then for underrated, I said this brand in general is not talked about at all. I've never heard anybody talk about it, but it's Found Beauty. I don't know, but it's their Baked Illuminating Blush. I've never heard anybody talk about it, and it's the most gorgeous thing ever. It goes on so smooth, so beautifully, so blended, and gives the most gorgeous pinky glow to the skin ever, and I absolutely love it. And I've never once heard anybody talk about it. So that's definitely one that needs more hype for sure. I talk about it all the time, and I actually have to force myself to use something else, because if not, I would just go crazy using that one. Highlighter, I said as overrated, Becca's Opal. Now please don't come for me when I say this, because Becca Opal, it is good. Like, don't get me wrong, it is good. And Becca's formula in general, I will say Becca's formula in general, they do deserve the hype. Becca itself does deserve the hype. I'm more specifically talking about the shade Opal. This shade, and I kind of see it as it is a very like universal shade. I definitely find that no matter your skin tone, you can kind of use this highlighter. So I do somewhat understand the hype behind it. But when I did finally get it, I don't know. It just seemed very basic to me, and it didn't seem too spectacular. I personally, my favorite out of the Becca's highlighters is Moonstone. That's personally my favorite. Like I said, not that there's anything wrong with Opal, but just, like I said, it's just when I got it, it just didn't seem to be what I thought it would be. It just seemed basic. Not that it wasn't bad. I just was a little bit like, okay, this got like all of this hype, and it's like, it's just like meh to me. So that's why I said that as overrated. And underrated, I said the e.l.f. Targeted Highlighting Stick in the shade Morning Dew. This is it's a highlighting stick, but it has like absolute no pigment to it. It pretty much just gives you that like wet glossy look that you want as a highlighter. And I love this. I love it on its own, but I also love just putting it over any highlight, because it instantly makes any highlighter look like you just have, like, you're sweating. Like you literally have this like balm almost on your cheeks, and it looks so beautiful, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, I love it on its own, and I love topping it on other highlighters. Can you? All right, for bullet lipsticks, I actually couldn't come up with an overrated one. I don't know, I couldn't think of like a bullet lipstick formula that I think is overrated. But I think underrated is the ColourPop Luxe lipsticks. Now I know they kind of did a little bit of hype right when they came out, when they sent out all those PR packages. But since then, nobody's talked about them. And I absolutely love them. I have so many shades. Every time I make a ColourPop order, I order more. That's just how much I love them. They go on so pigmented. They're so creamy. They have both a cream formula and a matte formula, which I think is amazing. Their matte formula is borderline like a liquid lipstick, because as soon as it like sets and dries down on your lips, it still transfers a little bit, but it's long lasting. So I absolutely love their formulas so much. They're so comfortable, and nobody talks about them. Like I said, they got a little bit of hype right when they came out, but nobody talks about them, and I absolutely love them. So, liquid lipstick, I couldn't really come up with anything for that, so I'm going to skip that. Face palette, as overrated, I said the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. It's like when that came out, everybody and their mom was using that palette. Everybody had that palette, and I have it too, and it's good, but I'm just like, man, I don't know. It's just like, I didn't get into it as much as everyone else did. I didn't find it like life-changing or whatever. For underrated though, I said the Tarte Clay Play, the volume 2. Not the first one, the second one. I know the first one got a lot of hype, but literally nobody talked about when they came out with the second one. And I love that one even more than the first one. The first one, I just found like a lot of the tones in the palette were very similar. But the second one, you have a bronzer, you have a blush, you have a highlight. You have different, it's not all matte. You have a few different tones. And it's so good and it's perfect for travel. And nobody talks about it. And it bugs me. Concealer, like, see, this is what I'm talking about. We're going all over the place. Concealer, I said Tarte Shape Tape. I know that's not a popular opinion, but when I finally got Tarte Shape Tape, Tarte Shape Tape, not Sharp, Tarte Shape Tape, I mean, it was very full coverage and blended out, but I don't know, it's not my favorite. And I guess I was more comparing it to my favorite, which is actually what I picked as underrated, the Naked Skin Concealer. I don't find many people talk about that, and I know definitely I won't lie when I say the Tarte Shape Tape is more has better coverage, but for me, I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't have a very prominent dark circles, but for me, the Naked Skin, it goes on so creamy, but still doesn't crease and still gives me coverage and is so comfortable under my eyes. I think that's the thing, is like the Tarte Shape Tape almost feels heavy under my eyes, and I don't like that. So that was concealers. Bronzer, I said Benefit Tula. I don't even know what else to say about that. That one I just got and it's good. It's not bad, but I don't find that it's life-changing. But the underrated, I put the Wet n Wild Cushion Contour. I love that as a bronzer, as a cream bronzer, or even as a bronzer in general. I absolutely love that. I would literally just sit there, take a stipple brush right into the, like, it's like a cushion, right into the cushion, and just stipple that on my face, and it looks so beautiful as a bronzer on my face. Lip gloss, overrated, I said Marc Jacobs. I do have their stick gloss, and I really like that. Like, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the normal lip glosses. Like, they're just lip glosses, and like the shade Sugar Sugar everyone talks about is like the best shade in the world. And not to get me wrong, like, it is a good shade, and I do like it, and I do use it. But it's not like the absolute life-changing thing in the world. But underrated, I said Lancome's L'Absolute Lacquers. Those they're so thin and comfortable, but they're like the most long-wearing lip gloss ever. Like, they don't really move that much, and when you're eating, they still leave behind like a stain almost, and they look so beautiful on the lips. They always make my lips look nice and filled in and smooth and creamy and glossy. And they're so good. And lastly, brow pencils. So I put overrated the Anastasia brow pencil. I feel like everyone would have said that. There's just so many dupes out there nowadays. Like, you don't need to be paying that much on a brow pencil, especially when you're going to go through it very quickly. Underrated though, I said the Wet n Wild. That is what I use in my brows every single day. It's like $2, does the job, shade matches me perfectly fine, and I've never heard anybody talk about it. And it's perfectly creamy. It's not too creamy, but not too waxy at the same time. And it's just, it does the job, and there's no need to pay that much money on a high-end eyebrow pencil. Anyway, guys, that was my underrated, overrated tag. I hope you guys like this video. Definitely go check out Katie's video. That's where I got this inspiration, and I encourage anybody else who found this interesting, do it yourself, because I thought it was really interesting. Some of these topics, I really had to think about, like, what do I really think is overrated, and what do I want to, like, shed more light on, and I want people to talk about more. So that was my underrated, overrated tag, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.